Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into Northrop Grumman, a company whose tech is, well, it's quietly changing how entire continents get ready for a conflict. We're going to look at this revolutionary command system that's basically creating a new Iron Dome for Europe, and in the process, driving a massive multi-billion-dollar boom. So let's start with a really big question. How do you defend a whole continent from the kinds of threats we're seeing today? And look, this isn't just some thought experiment. The answer is literally being built right now, piece by piece, across Europe. And when you understand what's happening, it tells you this incredible story about technology, rising global tensions, and, of course, a whole lot of money. And our story really kicks off in Poland, right there on the front line of NATO's eastern border. See, they're facing new threats, and they're not just buying more missiles. They're buying a revolutionary piece of American tech that is completely rewriting the rules of air defense. Okay, so let's get into the problem that's pushing this huge military upgrade all across Europe. You could almost think of it as a race to build a continental-sized Iron Dome for the modern age. And Poland is absolutely the trailblazer here. They made the call way back in 2018 to pick Northrop Grumman's Integrated Battle Command System, we'll just call it IBCS, to be the brain of their whole air defense network. And they're not waiting around, they're already getting it up and running, and they're planning a major expansion. This makes them way more than just a customer. They're really the first international partner to go all in on this game-changing system. And what happens when one country makes a big move like this? Well, you get a domino effect. Poland's decision has made everyone else sit up and take notice. Now, the UK is officially looking into IBCS, and Germany, a major player leading that 24-nation European Sky Shield initiative, is in talks too. You see, the goal isn't just about what individual countries can do anymore. It's about creating one single, unified defense network for the whole continent. So what is it about this IBCS system that makes it such a game changer? It's actually not about building better missiles. No, it's about the invisible network that connects everything. And it's all based on this one surprisingly simple idea. And here's that core idea. Any sensor, any shooter. It sounds simple, but it's totally revolutionary. See, before IBCS, all these different air defense systems were stuck in their own little silos. A Patriot missile battery could only use its own radar. But IBCS just smashes through those digital walls. It creates one network where any sensor, whether it's a fighter jet, a satellite, or a radar on the ground, can feed targeting data to any weapon on that network. This slide just lays out the night and day difference. The old way, over on the left, was kind of like having a bunch of people in a room who all speak different languages. Trying to coordinate was slow, it was manual, and things could go wrong. But with the IBCS architecture on the right, suddenly everybody is speaking the same language, instantly. The whole network sees one clear picture of the battlefield, and it lets algorithms pick the best weapon for the job, shrinking that decision time from minutes down to milliseconds. And we're not talking about a small, little improvement here. I mean, to put it into perspective, the U.S. Army's Vice Chief of Staff said this system can effectively double the capability of the missile defenses they already have, like the Patriot. So countries aren't just buying new gear, they're buying a massive leap forward in how effective they are. So as you can probably guess, a technological leap like that translates into some absolutely staggering business success for Northrop Grumman. Let's take a look at the numbers behind this boom. You know, you don't often hear a CEO of a major defense company use language like this. During a recent earnings call, Northrop's CEO, Kathy Warden, called this the most robust demand environment I've seen in my career. Wow. So let's see what financials are backing up a claim like that. First up, their order backlog. It's an all-time company record, topping $95 billion. And remember, that's not just potential business, that's contracted work they already have lined up. It gives the company this incredible stability and a really clear roadmap for its revenue for years to come.
And second, this isn't just happening in the US. Their international sales, which are largely driven by systems just like IBC's, jumped by 20% in 2025. That's proof that allies all over the world are buying into this new way of thinking about defense, and it's creating a massive new market.
And third, let's talk about a key sign of a company's financial health: free cash flow. Northrop generated $3.3 billion of it. That's the cash they have left over after paying all the bills, and it's grown by over 25% for 3 years in a row. It is a powerful signal of just how profitable this environment is for them right now. And of course, performance like that has definitely caught the attention of investors. The consensus on Wall Street is overwhelmingly positive. You can see here a clear majority of analysts are rating the stock either a buy or a strong buy. But Northrop's success isn't just built on this one command system. They are deeply, deeply involved in building the future of strategic deterrence, from next-gen aircraft to some really critical stuff up in space. A perfect example of this is the B-21 Raider. That's America's new stealth bomber. The company is finalizing plans with the Air Force for a huge $2 to $3 billion investment just to speed up its production. And the goal here is pretty ambitious, to build a whole fleet of around 100 of these incredibly advanced aircraft. They're designed to fly these long-range strike missions deep inside heavily defended enemy territory, and they're going to replace bombers that, frankly, have been flying for decades. And at the very same time, Northrop is a central player in this new space race. They have a backlog of 150 satellites for the U.S. Space Development Agency, and we're not talking about GPS or communication satellites here. This is a brand new constellation designed for one specific reason: to detect and track really advanced threats, like hypersonic missiles from orbit. Okay, so let's zoom out. We've seen the revolutionary tech, we've seen the record profits, but we really need to connect the dots here to understand the bigger picture. Why is all of this happening right now? Well, the sources all point to what is basically a perfect storm of geopolitical events. The war in Ukraine has drained Western weapon stockpiles, creating this urgent need to restock. At the same time, European nations are starting a once-in-a-generation rearmament effort. The U.S. is laser-focused on strategic competition with China, which is driving investment in systems like the B-21. And then you have new threats like hypersonic missiles that are fueling this race to build space-based defenses. It all just adds up to the strongest defense spending cycle that we have seen in decades. So this convergence of advanced technology, massive government contracts, and just global instability, it brings us to one final and really crucial question to think about. In a world that is rearming at this kind of historic pace, what is the true price of security?